Professor Young made this target so students could practice throwing the blocks. And there is an observer hole cut back here so people can experience what it's like to be on the receiving end of these wasps.
That is terrifying.
I am standing on what's called an aqua dam, a giant tube full of water they've wrapped around the treatment plant to try and protect it. Basically, this thing will swell up when the floodwaters come, trying to protect the water treatment plant. This snowfall comes just 2 days after thunderstorms shook campus. It's been a very unusual winter. David, spending Christmas at C of O is a chance to grow closer to the people here.
Our last story is about one C of O professor with an innovative plan to protect his students. Faculty and staff have already gone through training to deal with an active shooter on campus. But Professor Mark Young took that training one step further. The Point's Thomas Miller has his story.
It's something students are thinking about. What they would do if an active shooter came on campus.
I mean, I do think about it, but it's kind of just a back of my mind sort of thing.
I have thought about it lately, as far as like what my best option would possibly be.
Hide, probably. Run, I don't know. I mean, it's something you don't want to actually think about, but I'm sure most people do.
And some teachers have done more than just think about it.
And I thought, if an active shooter came into my classroom, what would I do? And the choices are you can run, hide, or fight. And in a classroom, there's no place to run. There's really no place to hide. So the only choice really that was left was to fight.
Professor Mark Young has a plan. It involves placing blocks of wood he made into a classroom, giving his students a chance.
It's called a WASP, okay, which is a wooden active shooter popper. That's what we call them.
A chance to fight back.
2, 3.
Professor Young made this target so students could practice throwing the blocks. And there is an observer hole cut back here so people can experience what it's like to be on the receiving end of these wasps.
That is terrifying.
Other teachers have made the blocks part of their classrooms and say this is a way to show they care about their students.
It's well worth the investment in time. And frankly, I believe the students appreciate it. I really do.
They're touched by the fact that, you know, a teacher would care that much about them. And all of the teachers here, all the professors here really deeply care about the students. And this is a way to show that.
A plan to protect what's truly important. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point. A small town hit by a lot of water. Parts of Lower Hollister were flooded when Turkey Creek overflowed. Residents say this is not the first time these businesses have been flooded, and it could get worse.
We'll see what happens in the next 24 hours because this could come up more. I think that they've got the dam going, but I just hate to see this damage. I just hate it.
For other Hollister residents, the flooding hit closer to home, the water reaching almost to their driveways.
It's frightening. This is the fourth time we've been through it because you don't know, do we have to leave? Are we going to drown, you know? Not drown, but we knew we might get water in the house. It's frightening. You just don't know how powerful it is till you live by it.
Some of that power came from Table Rock Dam, where the Army Corps of Engineers opened the spillways. The water was so high, it was coming over the tops of the floodgates.
That there's a lot of water coming over that dam, that the lake is totally full. And it's amazing. It's quite a sight. Never seen anything like it.
Lake Taneycomo rose too, threatening to flood a Branson wastewater treatment plant. Damage to the plant would cost millions of dollars to repair and hurt the Branson tourist season, but the plant engineers have a solution to stop it. I am standing on what's called an aqua dam, a giant tube full of water they've wrapped around the treatment plant to try and protect it. Basically, this thing will swell up when the floodwaters come, trying to protect the water treatment plant. Water has done a lot of damage, but the people of Branson and Hollister are doing what they can until things dry up.
I'll be glad when it's gone. I hope the rain quits and we see a whole lot of sunshine.
That's the hope here. In Branson and Hollister, I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
Our last story is about the weather. which has been pretty interesting this semester. Summer like one day, stormy the next. And then there was snow this past week. C of O students took this opportunity to get out in the winter weather, and for some, it was a unique experience. The Point's Thomas Miller explains.
Students were surprised by the snowfall.
Dude, first real winter storm of the year, so we're all pretty excited out here, having fun building snowmans, throwing snowballs, having a good old time.
It brought people together for an afternoon of winter fun.
It was awesome. One.
There was even a snow duel.
4, 5, go. You just suck!
This snowfall comes just 2 days after thunderstorms shook campus. It's been a very unusual winter.
I think this is awesome. And it's snowing in March. We had a tornado 2 days ago. I'm not doing any of my homework, but it's okay because we have snow and it's March. Community is alive on campus.
But perhaps the happiest students were the international students. Some of them had never experienced snow before. Joshua Liceo is from the Philippines.
And then my character count sister texted me and she said, "Hey, it's snowing." I'm like, "No, it's not." I opened the window. Oh my gosh, I could make a snowman.
Lately, it hasn't snowed much at C of O. This was Joshua's first time making a snow angel. For some, the snowfall had deep meaning, like Gabriela Urbano from Venezuela.
So I went to the calf and I just saw the snowflakes falling and I was like almost crying. I was so happy. I feel like Christmas right now. I used to watch movies and I thought, no, that's no way that's possible. So when I came here, I actually feel I was in a movie.
An unexpected gift, made sweeter by the fact that spring break is just around the corner.
So cold!
I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
Our next story takes us back to the Keeter Center. Every Christmas, some students spend their break working on campus. The Point's Thomas Miller spent time with student David Turley from Romania to get a closer look at Christmas away from home.
Memories of Christmas in Romania are some of David Turley's favorite memories.
Let me tell you about my Christmas home. It's like they have 3 days where we go caroling. Like for example, in one winter, I remember in my house, 360 people came to my house, a big group of like people like caroling, you know, and like they come with trumpets and guitars and like violins and accordions, if you know the big accordion. Man, it was amazing, man. Oh my goodness, let's go.
But this year, David will spend his Christmas season working at the College of the Ozarks Keeter Center. He stays in touch with home.
It's so good to see you, brother. How's going everything there?
Working far from home has taught him a lot. Family has new significance for David.
Family is the most important thing in your life. But now I just open my eyes and it's like, it's nothing more important than that.
For David, spending Christmas at C of O is a chance to grow closer to the people here.
I'm sure will be people on campus that will be in the same shoes like me, in the same boat, and we can change a little bit the atmosphere, you know, together.
And it's a chance to grow closer to God.
I don't need some other things, you know, through my life, and in my life I need peace and I need God. And He's the only one who can fill that, like, you know, that empty place, you know.
A Christmas spent in a far-off land, but a heart close to home. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
We begin this week with our coverage of the 9/11 events on campus. A ceremony at the Lest We Forget 9/11 Memorial brought hundreds of people, including local emergency personnel and first responders, to remember. The Point's Thomas Miller was there.
The September 11th attacks redefined how Americans see themselves and the world. Many vividly remember the shock of that day and how its aftermath changed their lives.
And I remember just being this little girl and watching a plane come and hit the second tower.
And we were just stunned. I mean, it was, you know, unprecedented to have that kind of attack on American soil. And of course, everybody wondered what was going to happen. They wondered what, you know, what the next step was.
And we were watching what was going on and just not believing what we were seeing. We just gathered among other students and faculty and staff watching this disaster unfold in front of our very eyes.
Every year, C of O stops to remember the events of 9/11.
If you look around you, you'll notice students of all ages, from kindergarten to grade school, high school, college, friends in the community.
Part of that remembrance is honoring those who died there. Students of all ages take part in the effort, placing flags outside the gates and participating in the flag-raising ceremony at the 9/11 Memorial as part of the college's goal to teach students the impact that day had on the nation. That's important now that many C of O students are too young to remember that day. For them, 9/11 is something they've only heard about.
And so in order to keep that memory alive, something I couldn't even fathom, we really just have to continually pursue it and continually focus on the topic because it's really important to remember that.
Many families of the fallen were there, including Julie Adams, whose brother Tommy Ratzlaff served in the War on Terror and lost his life in Afghanistan. She helped raise the memorial flag.
Events like this show that there are people that don't forget and are still humbled and honored to remember my brother's service and everyone's service.
Kevin Disharoon, Tommy's best friend, thinks ceremonies like this are important for future generations.
It's incredible, and to see those little kids sitting up there and to have them involved in something like that, I think that's pretty awesome.
And those who do vividly remember 9/11 want students to learn about the hope and unity that came out of that day.
As Christians, when we look at our political situation, when we feel the vertigo of change, when we see social mores that have become so radically altered that we don't even recognize them anymore, we simply can't stop hoping.
Let's focus on the heroism of the responders. Let's focus on the way the nation came together, united as one. Let's focus on the positives that we can take from one of the most dreaded days in our history.
A message the college hopes will have meaning for all generations. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
This week on The Point, we begin with a story of Bruce Heilman, a World War II veteran who is on a cross-country motorcycle tour to visit veterans memorials throughout the United States. One of his stops this week was C of O. The Point's Thomas Miller got to visit with him.
Bruce Heilman will tell you he likes adventure.
Adventure with a purpose. And I have a full purpose in 30 days of covering the whole country, talking about veterans, especially World War II veterans, because the numbers have dropped from 16 million to about 700,000.
He began his odyssey in Richmond, Virginia. It will take him to San Diego, with many stops along the way. He is on a mission to honor surviving World War II veterans and the families of those who didn't make it home from that war.
Just found out this week about one who died on Okinawa, and I was there, and I didn't know it till today. Freedom doesn't come free. It has to be earned.
He enlisted in the Marines at the age of 17 and found himself headed to the fighting at Okinawa.
Going in, 700 Marines were killed almost immediately, shot down by the Japanese first day. A lot of us perished there. We think of those who did as the real heroes, and we're proud to have served with them.
The military, he said, provided him with opportunity.
The military had everything to do with my accomplishments. I flunked out of high school, became president of a college and a university.
He has much in common with his longtime friend, President Jerry Davis, who hosted a patriotic tribute for him on campus.
You might ask the question, why would a 90-year-old man ride a motorcycle across the United States? Or maybe, how would they be able to do that?
Dr. Heilman says he uses his motorcycle as a draw to tell his story.
People come out to see a guy 90 years of age riding a motorcycle. Without the age of 90 and a motorcycle, who wants to come and hear Bruce Heilman tell anything? But they'll come to listen to my motorcycle, and then I'll tell them. See, it's a catch.
Dr. Heilman wants his ride to instill pride of country in future generations.
I believe that if they can hear me and others And these young people respond out of pride for having served, belief in freedom, belief in country, and belief in God. They will say, I want to serve.
He is encouraged by the way people have received him on his journey.
What's here on this campus, the flags. I got up early this morning, see the flags flying with pride. It just made me feel good because I've always had the spirit of evidence of appreciation for the military.
This year marks the 75th anniversary of the attacks on Pearl Harbor and America's entry into World War II. Bruce Heilman wants Americans to remember the sacrifices made. He'll be riding his Harley 6,000 miles from one memorial to another to remind them. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
There's a long history of honoring veterans, and these events draw crowds of veterans from across the nation. But there are also veterans who live and work at C of O, veterans of combat, for whom these observances have a special significance. The Point's Thomas Miller has some of their stories.
War. Something few Americans ever experience. Combat veterans remember the intensity.
I remember how kind of surreal feeling it is.
And there's so much to do within that mission that you're focused in doing the things that you need to do, and instinctively the guy behind you is backing you up.
That's a level of intensity that I'll never be able to experience again, no matter what I do.
Those who see battle know the hard cost of sacrifice. Sergeant Brian Cizik served in Iraq as an Army Ranger.
I remember standing up and talking, and the wall right next to me I was getting ricochets and shrapnel from the wall that was hitting me in the back of the head because bullets were hitting just to the either side of me.
Colonel James Streffler and Captain Caleb Dunham served in Afghanistan as Apache helicopter pilots.
Flying the Apache in combat was kind of a culmination of everything we had worked for years. It's kind of fulfillment of our tasking and our training and all that hard work culminated in that deployment.
Flying the Apache in combat requires great teamwork.
It's absolutely critical, absolutely essential that you have that teamwork. My mission over there as an Apache pilot, like I said, there's only 2 individuals in that aircraft. You've just got that teamwork and it just meshes.
That teamwork follows them home.
You see somebody wearing, I served in Iraq, on their hat or bumper sticker, or you could even just be driving down the highway and see that, and there's a veteran, there's somebody that's got my back and I've got theirs.
And they also remember the ones who didn't come home.
Anytime you hear about a soldier or a Marine, airman, any of the branches, you hear about a military service member being killed in the line of duty, there's a little piece of your heart and your soul that dies along with them.
Veterans Day is a chance to remember that bond. It's a time to honor others.
Think about the legacy of all those veterans, those great individuals that went before me and inspired me to put on the uniform.
And for these veterans, gratitude is enough.
That we appreciate, when somebody comes up and shakes your hand and just says, thank you for your service.
The veterans aren't asking for anything, they're just answering the call. Answering the call.
I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point. The cost of freedom brought close to home. Helping to unveil the monument were Ryan Mangan, who lost her brother in Afghanistan, and Amy Looney, whose husband died in Fallujah, Iraq. Honoring their loved ones and serving other families helped them heal.
One of the biggest things that has helped us, and also that we try to work with other families, is that idea of continuing our loved ones' service.
Dr. Bruce Heilman, a World War II combat vet, has met many Gold Star families and says recognizing and honoring their sacrifice is the best way to serve them.
What the Gold Star families go through is so traumatic that they need to be undergirded with friendship and love and recognition that others hurt and care and appreciate and acknowledge.
For these Gold Star families, events like this monument dedication show them the sacrifices they and their loved ones made are not forgotten. and telling their stories can help with the healing process.
Ask them to share their loved one's story, learn the stories of these men and women that have served and sacrificed so much, and go out and be servant leaders in your own communities in honor of these men and women.
This ceremony, rich with symbolism, from the jet flyover to the students singing to the monument itself, all reminders of what freedom truly costs. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
Our next story is about a surprise. Recently, a group of C of O women went on a retreat for spiritual growth. Typically at these retreats, they do a work service project to cover costs, but a group of C of O men surprised them by doing all the work, so the women wouldn't have to. The Point's Thomas Miller was there.
This was no ordinary service project. These men were on a mission to work, so the women on the retreat could relax. They worked to make improvements at a retreat camp called Soto, painting playground equipment, tearing out walls in a dormitory to repair and renovate. The work was hard.
Oh, it sucked.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
It was absolutely the worst thing.
Whoever built it did a great job.
Yeah, it was meant to last.
Very structurally sound.
Absolutely meant to last.
Last boy. And all this helped these men forge new bonds.
Just fellowship with the guys while doing some work for a good cause, and it was just a really good time.
The best part was being able to see a bunch of guys, some of them who I didn't even really know, being able to come together and get a lot of work done while also just being able to build community and have fun.
The work was a gift, designed to make the women feel more respected and appreciated.
And we thought serving them and giving them a more restful retreat would be the way to do that.
And it was. The women recorded thank yous to the men to let them know just how much it meant.
I wasn't even sure that I was going to come, but just seeing all the work that you put in just blessed my heart in such a big way.
Thank you for showing us that chivalry is not dead and for being the friends that we need. As a nursing student, it's really hard to find time to just get away and breathe and not have all the homework. And I needed this weekend. I needed time to get away. I needed time to really focus to be with God, just to get answers and clarity for some things in my life. And so I want to thank you guys so much.
A blessing for grateful hearts, a project to be proud of. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from The Point.
Our first story takes us up to the Keeter Center, where the Tim Tebow Foundation hosted their annual Night to Shine, a prom for those with special needs. C of O students got a chance to volunteer at this event. The Point's Thomas Miller was there.
Guests got the royal treatment, with a red carpet walk, a photo session with their own C of O student buddy, and a special appearance by Tim Tebow.
Guys, it is my honor to name every single one of you as the king or the queen of the prom.
And each guest received a crown or a tiara. And then they hit the dance floor. And they loved it.
I think my favorite part is dancing. So much fun. Yeah.
It might look like a big party, but Night to Shine takes a lot of work.
It's a lot of moving pieces leading up to it, but it's all worth it the night of, for sure. All the hours and all that hard work and stress is worth it when you see how excited the guests are when they get here and how much fun they have, how much fun the buddies have, and everybody gets to serve and really enjoys it.
And Night to Shine was a life-changing experience for the students who volunteered there. For some, like Caitlin Corcoran, this was their first time.
She is an absolutely wonderful dancer. She had to teach me so many dance moves. It definitely changed your life, and you get to meet somebody who's so special, and that God made her like that, and it's just really neat.
For others, this was their second Night to Shine.
Well, we danced, and danced, and danced. And this time we're dancing. So it's been really fun, lots of energy. We get to show God's love, so it's been great.
You got to get out and do it. It's a lot of fun. It makes my heart happy getting to meet people and getting to have fun out on the dance floor. And it's just a great night to shine.
It truly was a night to shine for all who were there. I'm Thomas Miller, reporting from the court.